we go. It's Friday. What is it? Friday Wind Day. Friday Wind Day. I believe it's Friday, isn't it? Yeah, Friday the 16th of May. Holy shit. How did that happen? Now, I had a little bit of a semi-plans of possibly entertaining the thought of going live today, but that's not going to happen. We've got to, I'm a little bit behind, and I have to go head out to the coast with all of the, I got a load of the pressure washer and all the shit. Sarah's coming with me now, and we're just going to go do a preliminary wash of the boat. Clean the whole thing from one end to the other. Get my list of what I need to fix. I got a bunch of little stainless steel doodads and shit I got to replace. Figure out how I'm going to properly attach the Starlink satellite dish to the roof of the boat before I bring it out. And then possibly we'll go back out tomorrow after it's all clean and ready to move into, and then put all the bedding and all the gear and all the shit back in it. And then take it out for its first fishing day on Sunday. That's the plan. So, but in the meantime, I think there might be two winners today for the membership crowd. The membership crowd is the crowd who generously feeds the kids. All right? And what more of a fitting way than to give back a little bit? You know what I mean? I mean, besides the good energy you get and the good karma you get from helping, we're going to, I think I'll give away one of these fishing lures today. One of these awesome frickin' pine cone fishing lures. I think it was like 5 hours of labor he said he had to put into each one. 5 or 7 or something like that. Or what a... I mean, there won't be another one like this in the world, right? Look at that. Look at that thing. Look at it. Pine cone. How awesome is that? How could you think about putting that in the water? I wouldn't. Well, then again, I might just to see if I could catch a fish with it. But so, we're going to draw that and another Guard Pro combo. Trail camera and solar panel with it, all right? Today. And what else? So how are we going to ship that, or how Sarah's, I asked her, I don't tell her anything, I asked her if she would ship them so that we would label them like a personal gift from us to the person who receives it as a birthday gift. I'm just going to put simple trail cam value, it's going to put like $50. Because it's all brand new product coming from China, right? And all the tariffs and everything. We don't need to be getting pinched for government bullshit, right? So that's what we're going to do here shortly. But not until we get some voices heard. So listen to this. Who do we got? Resending. All right, here we go. I had to go. We've been searching and digging in both of the emails the past couple days for some items, some people, and God, I have so many emails from around the globe. It's just not going to end. And this one was marked as I started reading it shortly, and it was marked. It wasn't open in the inbox in the email, so I grabbed it. And I know who this is. I only read a little bit of it. I can't remember if I read this update from them or not, but I'm going to read it now, all right? It'll make sense what I'm babbling about in a second. Hello, Steve. I hope this finds you and Sarah well and in good health, as well as the rest of your family and friends. My wife and I had a fishing charter with you August 2022. I hope you're keeping a lookout for my tooth, LOL. It was an awesome experience with you. Yeah, of course I remember. And that's what made me right away save this email, that part. So these very kind couple went on tour around Canada, and they came and fished with me. They both caught some fish, and he was over at the edge of the boat, I think having a little bit of seasickness, and his tooth flung out. I'm like, oh no. That sucked. That was expensive. And I said, well, I don't know, maybe we'll get lucky and a fish gobbles it up on the way down, and I'll catch it and find it later on. If anybody that would happen to, right? And how I haven't found the tooth yet. It was an awesome experience with you. You're good people. And as I have stated in my first email, Canadian's ice road trucker in Alberta, I have had many interactions with these humanoid beings since I was 10 years old. So for a backup, old Mike, he saw one of these beings cross the ice road up north and then parked and went and looked at it, and it was ripping through the trees. Seen it. Broad daylight. At 56 years old and knowing what I know now, which is basically nothing on the big scale of things, it is still very difficult to go back to that first encounter. It was March break, 76 in Ontario, Canada, and this took place in Algonquin Provincial Park. Myself and 13 other Cub Scouts from all across Ontario were up in the park to get our orientation badge, snowshoeing badge, fire building badge, etc. It was a beautiful time to be in the park. I got to see all the animal tracks and got to experience a small-scale maple syrup production the old way. Long story short, on the third day, we were broken up into 7 pairs of scouts, and each of us not knowing the other from a whole other troop from Ontario. Adventure dog is chewing on her bone beside me. Side note. If you hear some weird noises, it's not me. Our group is 10 years to 12 years old. We got to know each other for the first 2 days, and we had partnered up on our own. Some of us had a natural friendship with each other, so going into this, my partner's name was David, was from Oshawa, Ontario. We got along really good, both being big for our age and strong. As you know how boys are, a little competition between each other. And this morning we're going to try for our orientation badge, which consisted of a loop of approximately 6 miles on an old portage road with about 3.5 feet of snow, unmolested from human tracks or snowshoes or activity. David and I were the third team to go. We left 10 minutes apart and were timed when we left, so knowing this, we didn't hesitate on pushing ourselves with the task at hand. Everything was going good. It was a beautiful +3 overcast with light snow blowing almost like a snow globe at times, and sometimes not so much. We were in about the 3rd mile mark, just inside of it actually. We climbed a hill that was probably 2,000 yards of gradual grade, but nothing steep. And as we topped the hill crest on the downside, we found the first 2 teams standing together in the trail, looking and pointing about 500 feet down just before a turn to the right was something dark, darting back and forth behind a tree. Now we immediately noticed the concern on their face, but we were thinking that it's just a moose. And that was pretty cool. But as we started to look, we understood why they were concerned. Being 10 years old, we played a lot of hide and seek as kids, but we knew moose did not do that. They always ran away, but not this thing. It removed itself from view and reappeared, 50 feet away, peeking at us again. At this point, we were all scared, but we knew someone could be playing a joke on us and came in from the other way of the loop. But this was just too big and tall. We never got a real good look at it. It being about 500 feet away, we had no binoculars. Only our scout leader, Brad, age 18, had them with him, and he was behind us bringing up the rear teams. Unfortunately, when Brad arrived, he acted like most adults and immediately started giving us hell about screwing up our times and the exercise of the day. When he did notice how scared we were, he asked us what was going on, and we all pointed down the trail and said, "We believe there's a moose down there and we're not going to go any further." This was followed by an immediately scarfing from Brad, determined to be the fearless leader. But he put the binoculars on this thing. Welcome Brad to the Club of No Return, no doubt. No doubt. Welcome Brad to the Club of No Return. He immediately started shaking and trembling, uttering the words, we gotta go now." We all listened as he said, "Let's get back to the cabin as quickly as we can and leave no one behind." He didn't indicate what he had seen, and we all seen him terrified. And we were terrified as well, and we're going to follow him no matter what. We were just over 3 miles from our remote cabin, and we had 4 hours of daylight left. We started out and never looked back. That was the longest 3 miles of our young lives. I don't remember anything on the way to the camp other than everyone's breathing an odd whimper. No one complained, and we all pushed through as a team, and we finally arrived at the cabin with about an hour's daylight left. Brad had regained some of his composure, but he was obviously still scared and in shock with what he'd seen. We asked what it was, and he said he didn't know, and didn't ask again. But let's get prepared for the night. And we will snowshoe out first thing in the morning. We were instructed to get enough firewood to do a week if we had to, and yes, this terrified us. The wood pile was about 120 feet from the cabin. It consisted of maple and birch and the odd black spruce. Most of it was split, although there was some round ones about 5 inches across, approximately 5 to 8 pounds each piece. We worked as a team, and we got this done. We were instructed to put the winter covers on the windows, which were facing the woodpile and the door. We all got inside and got a great big fire going to keep us warm. Brad would not let us cook anything, and that concerned us as well. He said, "I know you all have chips and chocolate bars, so eat them up because we're not cooking on the fire tonight." We proceeded to start the longest night of our young lives. Now, I'm not afraid to tell you, a lot of us kids had soiled themselves because of this unreal, terrifying, life-changing experience. The outhouse was on the other side of the woodpile, lol. That sucked, but we're already soiled. Holy shit. About 10 p.m., the first roaring started. We were hoping this is a wolf, but due to the vocal range and changes in length and pitch, we were certain it wasn't a wolf. And the look on Brad's face told us he knew it wasn't a wolf as well. We had no lights on, only a glow of a fireplace. We were all on the floor together, hand in hand, some of us praying and some of us crying for our moms. This was beyond terrifying as the screams continued closer and closer and stopped around 2 a.m. Now, none of us was sleeping, and Brad was a total wreck, almost incoherent and muttering. We got a short break from this activity, and then around 3 a.m., just when we thought we were going to make it, that's when the boom started. Now, if you're familiar, as I know you are, with a 12-gauge shotgun, particularly a pump action, there was 3 booms with a pause in between. That's the only way to describe it. And it made a vibration of the walls of the whole cabin. The walls were actually moving with each boom. We were absolutely terrified. As a little kid, desperation, panic, fear, and wanting your mom. It's so very hard to go back here for me, but I know now I have accepted and faced this fear. I don't know how long this lasted, as being that scared, it can take away time and memory. I myself was woken up by Dave at daylight. I was confused and shocked by being woken up. I truly do not remember even trying to sleep at all. I can say I was not alone because others were sleeping as well. My only thought is that the fear was so intense we all blacked out. We made sure everyone was all right, and we proceeded to talk with Brad about our exit plan. This is pretty simple. Get the snowshoes on and get back to the main campground, and that was 3 miles away. And he said, "Don't turn back." Well, it took us approximately 30 minutes to get the courage to start out with the plan to leave the cabin. And as we tried to open the door, there was firewood blocking the door. We had to push through the firewood to get outside. And on the side of the cabin wall, was all smashed in like someone took a sledgehammer and beat on the old logs. We could not understand what we were seeing, and there were no tracks but ours. There was approximately a full cord of firewood laying all around the side of the cabin facing the woodpile. Brad and David and myself and a couple others walked towards the woodpile until we found a huge, human-shaped 5-toe tracks which weren't a whole lot smaller than some of our snowshoes. The footprints were beside the woodpile, about 120 feet from the cabin door. So, we understood as 10-year-olds how much power it took to launch the firewood like missiles at the cabin. It's truly amazing what fear can do to a body so young, and it's always amazing how your body will naturally react in a situation like this. Call it a miracle, or just your fear and willpower. We all turned and headed towards the main cabin that was 3 miles away. I never seen anything, and never heard anything, other than my own heartbeat pounding in my head and my breathing, and the other 13 scouts breathing breathing and whimpering once again. What a frickin' nightmare, Mike. This could easily be made into one hell of a movie, could it not? As a team heading towards salvation, that was more scarier than the 3-mile snowshoe the night before as we seen the tracks. Absolute shocking fear. We all made it back to the main camp, and much to the surprise of the head counselor in charge of the camp, he was wondering why we were so early. It didn't take him long to assess something was terribly wrong. We were told to take a knee as Brad went into the main cabin and briefed the counselor of our experience. Only a couple of us tried talking about the tracks as only a few of us seen them, but everyone was still in shock and still scared. Brad emerged an hour later informing us that our parents were called and were on the way and that this was a wildlife encounter with an early spring bear and nothing more. And sometimes this happens in the bush. Pricks. When my father arrived to pick me up, he asked what had happened, and all I could say was, I don't know. But it all scared us so bad. They canceled the rest of the week, and he said, you also smelled like shit, lol. No doubt. I never stayed in contact with anyone from this experience, and all I can tell, it changed my life, and no doubt everyone else's. I let this fear get the best of me most of my life, but not anymore. Anyway, I'd just like to say one thing. I am now more curious than ever about this being, and let me point out I'm still afraid. No matter how many times you have this experience, and if you're not afraid, you're full of shit. Sorry, just my thought. Take from it as you will. And one last thing, Steve, I'd like to say. We as modern humans are no longer part of the natural world, but these beings have adopted to be masters of nature, no doubt. Best regards, a proud New Brunswick Canadian Mikey. You know, Mikey, I may have read that back in the day after you guys fished, but I don't give a shit if I did it before or not, you guys. There's probably 100,000 new people here since then, and that is one hell of a story with one hell of an impact. And a whole bunch of whys in there, you know what I mean? Whys for me. Why bother? Why bother? You hate humans that bad, you finally got a bunch of young ones, and you're going to absolutely screw them over as much as you're allowed to without actually going and grabbing them and squeezing them? Maybe. Sick sense of humor. That sense of humor has got to be, that comes straight from a dark heart, right? How about that power? 120 feet, throwing an entire cord of wood piece by piece and bashing in logs with the impact. How hard would it take to impact a log and bash it, dent it in, splinter it with a piece of firewood? Try it, right? Just try throwing a piece of firewood at a tree a few times, see what you do. And then the old classic, deny, 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 which I believe deserves a kick in the nuts at this stage of the game. I wonder how many of those scouts are on this channel. We've had people in the past chime in from sharing the same experience somebody emailed in here and not having talked to each other for years, like those guys from Angola, Special Forces. We put them together here. They hadn't talked to each other in like 20 years. But they're here on this channel together. Next. Hope you guys are doing well, Mikey. Appreciate you, man. I'll keep an eye out for your tooth this year. You never know. Army veteran and son get chased out of the forest in Idaho. Hello, Steve. Here's my story. You can use my name. Ryan Ray. My son Samuel and I had an interesting experience in the summer 2010 that made me a believer. I just returned from Iraq a few months earlier, having served 2 tours to Iraq in the U.S. Army. I was pretty confident in my abilities and in the capabilities of my weapons. I was also confident in the fact that I was very familiar with this location, as I had been coming here almost annually since I was 14 years old on backpacking trips. I was still a little too early to go backpacking, as there was still a lot of snow that had not melted yet, but I had to get the trip knocked out because I was due to report to a new duty station in a couple of weeks. 7 years prior, a friend and I had walked into this lake, and something odd I noticed on the way up was a footprint. It looked like a child's foot, probably about 7 inches long. It was clear and deep. This trail is covered with shale and sharp rock, so a child walking up here barefoot would be highly unlikely. The funny thing is, I bent down to look at the print, but walked off and didn't think any more about it. Said so many others. It's a pattern reaction. The place we walked into is about 10 miles in. We only saw 2 other people on the way in. They went to the first lake for a few hours of fishing, then rode out on motorcycles in the evening. Beside us, there were only 2 people, a couple, that had signed in at the trailhead. On the way into the lake, we had about a half a mile to go, and I heard a couple of gunshots from a high-power rifle. It was odd, as most backpackers carry a pistol, if anything at all, and rarely shoot up here. Upon arriving at the campsite, I noticed the motorcycle the couple had come in on chained. Upon arriving at the campsite, I noticed the motorcycle the couple had come in on chained to a tree. They had apparently rode the motorcycle as far as permissible and hiked into one of the further lakes. So, Sam and I set up the tent and started a campfire. Sam was not feeling well, so he laid down for a nap. I hung a bear bag filled with canteens and all the rest in order to be ready for the next day's hike, which was going to involve a lot of walking. Around 9:45 p.m., just as the sun was making its last appearance, I peered out the mesh window of the tent as I had just settled into my sleeping bag. And what I saw out the window was the biggest grizzly bear I had ever seen. It was on the other side of a large stream, which separated the camping area from the other side of the trail. I reached for my rifle, unzipped the tent just enough to get the muzzle of the rifle out, and as the zipper caught, as it usually does, the first warning shot went unheeded, and the second made the bear walk back and watch us from a distance. Knowing that the bear was not leaving, I had Sam keep the weapon oriented on the bear, and I broke camp in about 5 minutes. We had about 10 minutes of daylight left, so we put some distance between us and the campsite toward the trailhead. We had our headlamps for light on the way out, but the batteries were going out. This is an area where a fire had come through many years ago that has a lot of standing and fallen dead trees. At this point, we heard wood knocking. It was a phenomenon that I was familiar with because I enjoy watching Bigfoot programs. It sounded as if someone had a baseball bat and was pounding on some of these old dead trees, each time making a loud, hollow-sounding thud. Sam asked me if that was normal. Having spent a lot of time in the outdoors, I knew it was not, but affirmed to him that it was indeed normal. I had a tactical tactical light, which is great for luminescence, but the batteries don't last long. And about halfway out, we relaxed a little. The unseen creature was pacing us and was able to keep pace even though the terrain it traveled through was uneven and encumbered with deadfall. Sam and I were on a trail and could not distance ourselves from it. Sam was in the lead, and when he turned his head to speak to me at one point, his headlamp illuminated 4 sets of eyes, 3 green sets and 1 red set. I heard claws on trees, and one of the sets of eyes, the red set, came directly toward us. I told Sam to run as the eyes were slightly ahead of us to our left. I ran toward the red eyes and fired off some rounds into the fallen trees just off the trail. I did this in hopes of scaring the animals away. You're a lot more kind than me. That's body language and actions. You're guilty. You got a boy with you. Those eyeballs are getting a third eyeball between them. Period. You're going down. It's on. It's on. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. That action goes down, I got a kid or somebody with me, and that's going down, it's game on. We're going for keeps. I've read of Bigfoots having glowing red eyes. I can't say for sure. They may have been wild cats in the trees or something unexplainable. All I know is that I felt an irrational fear, which is telling me to get out. A little further on, we met up with the creek that paralleled the trail. The stream is probably about 5 feet deep at that point. And out of nowhere, a huge rock was thrown in the water. It was obvious the rock was huge because of the kerplunk sound it made as it went in the water. I told Sam to run, and I kept a watch to see if there was anything coming up from behind us. As I faced rearward on the trail, say that 10 times as fast as you can. Rearward. As I faced rearward on the trail, allowing Sam to get some distance down the trail, I saw what looked to be a large figure. I would approximate at 8 feet tall across the trail behind me, probably 15 to 20 yards back there, was just enough light to see it move. And also, the figure was not dark in color. I figured it must have been gray in color, as I would not have seen a darker animal. I decided not to take any more shots as it was dark and my mind and nerves were frazzled. I questioned my own sanity, and I felt like I must be losing my mind, and that it would probably be safer not to fire any more warning shots as I had fired 6 to 8 shots already on the way out. I put the rifle on safety and ran after Sam. About an hour later, Sam and I returned to the truck, exhausted. Thanks so much for your time, Steve. Thanks for your share, my man. That is absolutely not cool of an experience to impose on some innocent human beings that aren't doing shit to you. You know what I mean? That's not cool. And they definitely did not respect the high power rifle, did they? Why's that? I wonder. Could they tell they weren't going to get shot at? Could they read the man's demeanor? Do they know it's probably a safe bet to go terrorize him for a bit? He's not going to shoot us. We already know. We can tell by his energy. Because they've proven to me, it was proven to me years ago when I was standing beside Dr. John Bendernagel at that thing that he put down at the University of Victoria years ago. And when that man came up and he said flat out, I've shared the story a few times. Just want to share this one point where he said the thing was looking out from behind the tree at him, real close, 30 feet or something. He's looking at him, and he said the look on his face is like it was surprised to see him. And then all of a sudden it hid behind the tree, and then his buddy comes running up with his gun. They were hunting. And he said it was almost like they controlled it. Original guy put his gun up, he really looked out at them. His buddy put his gun up, it really hid, like, oh, not that guy. This guy's going to whack me for sure. And then the guy's gun went down, his went up, and then it put his whole face and shoulder up. And I asked him, I said, is your buddy a bit of a killer? Is he a little bit of a light, is he trigger happy? And he goes, oh yeah. Bingo, right? As I was putting my puzzle together. Bingo, they can read you. They can read you. They can read your intent. 100%. How do they do that? I mean, would I shoot one of these people? Nope. I would not initiate it. Not a chance in hell. I would not initiate trying to murder one of them. But if I had someone with me and they started if they did anything, body movement or throwing anything, and I had little Chippy or Sarah with me, that's all it takes. Now we're going to get it on for keeps. End of story. Right? You can't afford to take that chance. Right? And it's something that moves so fast, you're probably not going to get an accurate beat on it. And when they're initiating aggression, dump them. Right? But I always let them know flat out when I'm in the woods all the time. I say it all the time still today. I'm not here for you. I don't give a shit about you. Just leave me alone. If you try to terrorize me, I'm gonna put holes in you if I can. To being honest. My mother's encounter is the title of this next email. Dear Steve, my name is Angie Pilkerton. You can use it. Anyone that knows me knows I speak my mind. And my encounter happened in February of 22. I had traveled to Jackson, Ohio to visit my mother. After reaching my mom's, we hopped in the car and headed to my sister's house a few miles south of Gallipolis. Oh, Gallipolis. Gallipolis is how you pronounce it, but it's spelled Gallipolis. Well, why don't they spell it Galpolice? Just kidding. Ohio on St. Route 7, STRT 7. We were babysitting my niece and a friend because my sister and her boyfriend were going to a Valentine's dance. And while we were there, it snowed. And when my sister returned home a little after 12 a.m., we left to head back to my mom's house. I decided to not take the back road shortcut we usually took because it was very hilly and curvy. And with the snow, I thought it would be safer to take the highway back. We were on 35, somewhere between Rio Grande and Jackson, when my mom sat up with a startled expression and asked, "Did you see that?" To which I replied, "See what?" My mom said, "That big monkey." I said, "What?" Now, Steve, 35 is very rural. No lights except our headlights and the headlights coming at you from across the median, which are usually blinding you because of the idiot on the other side of the median is driving with their brights on. So, needless to say, my full concentration was on the road. But I also know that from my mom's expression, she was serious. So I said, "Mom, what did you see?" To which she replied, "A monkey, a big monkey." I said, "How big was this monkey? Like a chimp or like a gorilla?" She said, "Big." I said, "Where was it?" Mom said, "On the side of the road where the guardrail should be. It turned around and sat down kind of on its haunches when we drove by." Well, I sat there a minute and looked at my mom as we drove, and she looked scared. Finally, I said to her, "Mom, you know what you saw? There aren't any zoos around here, and it's 5 degrees outside. That was no monkey, Mom. You saw a Sasquatch." To which she said, "I know." Well, we went back to my mom's house, talked a little about it, and I left and went back home to Cincinnati the next day as planned. A few weeks later, I came to visit my mom, and one of her friends was there. I mentioned the encounter we had to the friend, who looked amused. And my mom said that she hadn't mentioned it to anyone because she didn't think they would believe her. I was so shocked and saddened by this because my mom has always spoken her mind, yet she couldn't bring herself to talk about it with others. I told my mom she had just joined the Club of No Return and told her she should watch you on YouTube. Well, that's my and my mom's encounter. We both had a lot of paranormal encounters, but this email's long and perhaps I'll write it again. Thank you for all you do, Steve. I appreciate you. And I appreciate you and your mom, too. Tell your mom we know she is a kind, brave, honest person, all right? And welcome to the club. No entry fee. You don't have to get a tattoo. And you're here for life. There's no escape. And it's a frickin' big club. Who's next? Struggling to get comfortable being out in the woods is the title of this entry. Hi, Steve. I'm going to try to get this out smoothly, but I'm not one for always getting my thoughts out clearly. And first off, I've been hunting since I was 12. I'm 41 now. I've been blessed to be able to harvest many elk, deer, and pronghorn in my lifetime. And the following stories, I suppose you would call them, take place in central Idaho. My family have 2 cabins that are in the wilderness of Idaho. This location is very near the Frank Church Wilderness in Idaho. We've been hunting right out our front door for decades, and it is a great area. Everything has been amazing for the last 25 years or so. But in the last 5 or 10 or so, I've noticed some strange things. Steve, I had one completely crazy sight one day while hunting. I was following a 5-point bull one day. I was on the side of a small valley and the bull was on the other. He walked into an area that had been burnt by wildfire about 10 years prior. This area was so hot that there was very little vegetation even 10 years later. I hope I'm painting the picture correctly. This bull was only about 200 yards from me and had no clue I was there. I found a good solid rest to take the shot. The bull walked behind a burned tree. I was going to take the shot when he stepped out from behind the tree. Well, the bull stepped behind the tree and I could see his hind end at this point. The bull then turned uphill, I assumed, and went completely behind the tree. Steve, I swear on my life, this bull completely disappeared. It never stepped out from behind the tree. There was nowhere for this bull to go. The area was extremely visible. I waited for him to step back out for about 45 minutes. There was nowhere for this bull to go. The area was extremely visible, and I waited for him to step back out for about 45 minutes. I was so confused, I walked over to where it was. I found the tracks. They headed uphill like I thought, and then they just disappeared. Whoa. No one believes me on this story, but I swear it is true. Another day, about 3 years ago now, I wrote in to you previously about this one. I'm not sure if you read it or not. I was outside of the cabin, and I heard what I thought was a wolf. This was up a canyon, and by my complete guess, about 2,000 to 2,500 yards away. I heard it sound off, and immediately I thought, I know wolves are big, but I didn't think they could howl like that loud. What really confused me is that about 10 minutes later, an entire pack of coyotes started yipping and barking and sounding off. I know the wolves don't tolerate other canines, but these coyotes were in the same general area. I suppose it could have been a wolf, but it was extremely loud, and I felt like I could feel it down to my core. Last strange thing. I was out with my daughter in a Razor UTV checking out an old gold mine. My sister and brother-in-law was with us, and we had to cut out about 30 trees that were across the road. Oh, it's such a pain in the butt, isn't it? We got in there, and I had that feeling again. We were being watched. We did our exploration, had some lunch, and started out. This is a beautiful blue sky day, not a breath of wind. And on our way out, we were in the rear. I heard what sounded like a tree falling. I looked to my left, and there was a tree falling directly toward the center of the Razor. It was a big tree. My guess is about 18 to 20 inches at the base. I don't think it was a mere coincidence. The chances of that tree falling directly toward the road at that exact moment we drove through is astronomical. My apologies, this is not being a Sasquatch story, but Steve, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm struggling with enjoying the outdoors now. I still push myself to go out rock hounding, prospecting, and hunting, but I can't seem to enjoy it anymore. I used to think about elk season all year. Now I almost dread getting back out into the mountains. I know that there are Sasquatch around our cabin. I can feel it when they're around. I've never seen one, and I don't really want to. But I can definitely feel when they are around. I do believe that a .300 Winchester Magnum isn't enough. I even carry a .45 pistol as a sidearm. How can I get over this fear? I want to enjoy the things I used to do. I always feel like I'm being watched. How do you get yourself out of this mindset? I am truly struggling. My apologies if this didn't come across smoothly or if it is confusing. And like I said, I'm not an author. LOL. Came across great, my man. And I lost my spot. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and I'm hopeful you will have some insight for how I can get back to enjoying what I used to love doing. You can use my name. Hell, no one believes my stories anyways. I'm not afraid of being ridiculed. Thanks, Steve. Jim Chatterton. Well, you're not afraid. That means you're a brave and honest man. Good for you. Welcome to the club. I guess sometimes I'm a bit of a broken record when I explain what I do, but some people need to hear it. They miss it, right? But I just say flat out. Every time. I think it throughout the days. I sleep like a baby at night for the most part, except for 2 years ago. something weird was going down in the forest so much it made me pant like a dog, and I couldn't get in my truck and drive away fast enough. And that was the first time ever in my entire life at nighttime that nothing bad happened to me. My camp was fine when I got back. But anyways, but I just say flat out, leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm here to get my food, and that's it. I don't give a shit about you. I don't need a picture or a video of you. I need to prove nothing. Just leave me alone. Let's not ruin it for each other. I say that all the time. I mean, still shit happens to me a few times a year, but nothing bad, I don't think. My knife episode, not one human being can say, "Oh, it's a Sasquatch, man, for sure." Really? Did you see it? Did you see the hairy person put the knife in my backpack? Right? Haven't a clue how my knife got returned to me 8 or 12 or so miles away. 10 months later, 9 months later, my knife gets thrown in my backpack after I left camp for the day. There's no explanation for that yet. Hopefully I find out one day. That's one of the more odd things that's happened to me lately. But anyway, last year Sarah and I got disoriented on top of this hill, which did not absolutely had me alarmed. Because, I mean, it's too easy. The sun was out to boot. How the hell did that happen? I don't have a clue. It got to the point I had to look Sarah in the eyes and say, okay, here's the deal. We know exactly where we are right now. We're going to try to go to the other side of the hill one more time. If we end up back here again like this, we keep our shit together, okay? And she's just looking at me going, okay. And I go, I'm not kidding you. We keep our shit together no matter what. And then walked out. But the elk disappearing. One of our friends, Kelly Down the Man from Mount Curry, one of his friends, walking down the trail ahead of his friends, all of a sudden, blip. He gets up off the trail behind his friends in the same trail. Doesn't know how that happened. Like we've always said to everyone, cautioned everyone here that can hear and share it. If you ever go walking into the woods or the bush or whatever, and all of a sudden you're feeling terror, disoriented, frantic panic, you turn around and you walk out the exact same footsteps you walked in, and you just turn around and leave, right? I can't caution people anymore. I mean, that's a very, very important move, to go back the way you came, step for step. Why? Because that, whatever it is up ahead, you can call it a portal if you want. But so far today, we can't look up portal in the encyclopedia and have a picture and a full description of it. So until then, we don't know what the F's going on. When something the size of a frickin' bull elk just disappears, human beings disappear, I don't know what that is. Well, Steve, do you think it's a portal? I don't have to know. I've never been trained or taught about portals once in my life. I've never been shown one. I don't know the dimensions, the rules, what they're made of. I don't know shit. All I know is people repeat the word portal. People are good at repeating, right? Without knowing. All I know is there's some alarming shit going on at the odd time. Not always, at various places around the planet. That's a fact. Is it intentional? Haven't a clue. Haven't a clue. Meaning is that whatever caused that elk and other items and people to disappear, is it intentional, or is it just by frickin' random, wrong place at the wrong time? You know? Hasn't happened to me yet. Hasn't happened to millions of people that are in the woods the same as me. It hasn't happened to them either. Not yet. Right? You don't know. Right? Might not. It's like winning the lottery. Each one of us will probably never win the lottery, but some of us will. Right? Some will. But anyways, I'm rambling. Just getting back to you, man. Just do what I do. I love it. And as soon as I as soon as I find what I'm looking for, I see the sign, I'm absolutely hyper excited into it, and I don't give a shit if there's 15 Sasquatches all around me. I don't care. I'm after it. I'm all over it. Enthusiastic, stoked, and tunnel vision and having fun. So, I've been through a lot of shit in the woods. Been through a lot of shit. When I had that being staring me down from 15 yards, when I was 18 years old or 17, whatever the hell I was. 17. First pickup, 17, commercial fishing money. I still go, right? Been in the cabin with it getting beat on. Had the trees getting blasted. Seen them. I still go. I'm still here, and I love it. So all I can do is hope and pray that you find that enthusiasm again too. You know, never quit. Don't quit. That's two things in life. If I only had shoot 2 short messages to share with people if I was to die tomorrow. Number 1, don't ever quit. No matter what you're doing, don't quit, and don't be afraid. Who's next? Now, I wonder if I could do this. This is recording. I think it's going to work. No way. Me and my challenged mind. All right, so this is a Mac laptop. I got my notes on it. And I got my iPhone with my notes. And while working on the computer all day yesterday, well, for a lot of the day yesterday, I saved, I don't know how many. Holy shit, there's a lot of emails there. Saved yesterday. And they're not syncing up with my phone. And then it says I need more space on the cloud. And I'm like, well, cloud, you can kiss my ass. I'm not giving you 10 cents. And whoever else accesses my shit on the cloud. Right? But you'd think it would have synced up on my phone, but it hasn't. So I'm going to go on to here, and it's recording. And I can use the screen same time. Who'd have frickin' thought? Now, what's this? All right. Now, here's one I found. I know I didn't read this before. Right away when I opened it up. And the title of this email is Bear or Bigfoot Tracks, ? And for what I've seen, this has got to be some of the best daytime photographed Sasquatch prints I've seen to date myself. Why is this thing not scrolling up? Come on. Seriously? Said, hey Steve, I love your YouTube channel and I've learned a lot from you. Someone I know recently found some tracks here in Utah. There's some debate about whether they are bear or Bigfoot. What do you think? He said the trackway ran 50 to 60 yards and the stride between some was 41 inches. And somebody said, what? There's a debate? No shit. How could you debate this? This is what we call large human-like prints 101. Can't be more clear than that. End story. And they were made looking at the grass. You look at how the grass is growing and ruffled up on the ground around the prints. It's same as in the prints. So these were made well before the grass is starting to come around. I'm guessing these prints were made when there was a lot of water. Not a lot of water, but there was a fair amount of water over top of that dirt. This is before the grass. They were made before that grass started coming up. There's not really any squashed grass in the print, but there you go. Oh, there isn't that one. Those are some pretty good clear prints. Oh, and look. And there's the mid-tarsal break. Whoa, yeah. So important. So important, isn't it? The mid-tarsal break? It's so important. Nope. Actually, what's more important is the DNA. What these human beings actually are. How can they vanish and how can they use telepathy when they feel? Where do they come from? Where are they going? And how do they relate to us? F your mid-tarsal break, you lying douchebag. Anyway, sorry about that. Not sorry. And there you go. Entries for the day. How could somebody even half remotely debate that's a bear track? Unless they'd never seen a print in their life before anywhere, right? Anyway. All right, I got to get this into the video, and then we're going to see who the 2 winners are today. Back one second. First winner, as promised, I was going to do one of these pinecone fishing lures today as part of 1 of 2 draws, all right? And to be eligible for these draws, look at that. I believe the very kind, generous man who created these said he spent 5 to 7 hours each It's a pine cone, for real. One of a kind. There isn't another one like this in the whole world. And he sent us 10. 10. And he wanted the revenue to go towards feeding the children. So I promised to do this one way this time, but we know what I think I might do, because there's such a rare item, and how do you put a price tag on it? We'll continue drawing the trail cameras, all right? We got 2 big boxes of those. But I wonder if maybe we should do a live video, and then out of the membership gang, you guys can bid on these suckers with 100% of the proceeds going to those tummies. That might be a good idea, right? I think that was what he requested, to try to sell them for what they're worth, and that's when he said 5 to 7 hours of labor plus whatever it took. So what's an extremely qualified tradesman getting these days? I don't know about the States, but up here I think it's like $45 an hour. So if you times it by that, that's quite a bit of money, right? 5 times 45. I don't think these would sell that fast at a few $100 each. But we could probably auction them off and get a few bucks that way to feed the kids, right? But anyway, we have already drawn one. This one. Today. And Sarah drew the name from the membership group of the channel for the next trail camera and solar panel combo by Guard Pro. You ready? Are you ready? The lucky recipient of the very first drawing of the pine cone fishing lure, the only one of its kind in the world, Jenny Lynn 6827. You are the grand fishing lure prize winner. You won it. Jenny Lynn 6827. That's your handle on the YouTube page. And you have been generously feeding the tummies of those kids. And this is a gift back to you, all right? Thank you so much for your contribution and your support. Thank you so much, Jenny. So, in order to collect your prize, all you have to do, Jenny Lynn, is email Sarah with your mailing address and attach your original profile photo on your thumbnail photo. Just attach the original one. That lets us know it's really you collecting your prize, and it'll be out the door to you. Congratulations. This is yours. Now, and I think what I'm going to do is to ship these and keep them all brand new and no scratches. I'll just cut this. I'll cut this section of foam out and press it back in there, and we'll put them in there and get them out the door. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, trail camera. Almost forgot the trail camera drawing. Drum roll. The second winner of the weekly Lucky Persons draw for the Guard Pro trail camera is Dale Culbertson 6862. That's your handle on YouTube, my man. You won the trail camera. Yes. Congratulations. This is yours. And the reason that's yours is because you have been generously contributing to feed the tummies of those hungry kids. Thank you so much. And I wish I could give every single person who contributes that few bucks a month. I wish I could give you all one of these trail cameras, but we only have 2 boxes. So there you go. You won, my man. And again, for you, could you please send your original thumbnail photo that you use on your YouTube account and send your mailing address to Sarah? You can send it at, I don't know what her email is. You can send it to sharemystory@howtohunt.com. I'll get it. She'll get it. We'll get it. And the second we get that, the trail camera's out the door to you. All right? Thank you so much. From the kids. And what else? I think I mentioned before, but we will send them as simply a personal gift from us, like we're family, and mark it down to next to no value so that the greasy governments don't try to get something and take something from us away from this for themselves, okay? There you go, you guys. I'm out of here. And for all you other people who are avid in the woods and use a lot of trail cameras a year like I do, there is a discount code for you if you wish to purchase a bunch of these suckers at once, which I have to do because I'm giving those away. There's a 10% discount code Just go to the website, howtohunt.com, and look for the trail cameras, and you'll see the code in there. You copy it and you paste it for your 10% discount off of the trail camera purchase with Guard Pro, right? And they are seriously, without a doubt, the best trail cameras I've used to date. And I stumbled across them, honestly, before they approached me. There you go. That's in the description below. And I think that's about it. Bookit at howtohunt.com if you can squeeze in some fishing. I don't know what she's got, what days she has left. You'll have to email her at bookit at howtohunt.com. But more important than anything, get your truth shared to sharemystory@howtohunt.com. That's really important. Get your truth flowing. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared of shit. All right? And remaining anonymous is easy here too. We got your back. It's okay. You don't want to be known. You don't want anybody to know. That's fine. But get your knowledge out. Knowledge is gold. Somebody near you, somebody here is going to benefit from your knowledge, no matter how terrifying it was. Somebody's gonna help somebody being shared wide open. Okay. There you go. Have a great weekend, everyone. Please, please, please do what you love to do. A quarter of a day, 1 hour, I don't give a shit. Whatever you can pull off, do what you love to do this weekend, all right? And bring somebody with you. That's very, very important. It changes your vibration. It creates good health, and it makes you live longer and happier, all right? Do it. And I'll be back, probably from the woods tomorrow. Wow, I'm on top of the world now.